Hello, everybody. First off, let me know if you can hear and see me okay, as well as the music being balanced well. It's kind of faint right now, but it'll pick up. I got some relaxing tunes in the background, and we are just hanging out. We are doing some painting on these Warbred here. These are my Wadroon army for the Conquest Paint-Along League. Very excited that I have been able to jump into these guys, because daggum, their paint scheme, or their models are just so brutal. Anyway, I would love to hear, once we're all accounted for, everybody can report in, tell me what you are working on. I would love to hear it. I decided to go with sort of a, not marble for this, these plinths, but sort of like a white stone of antiquity kind of a thing, as if they had smashed something with a lot of history. Normally, when I do structures and stuff like that, I tend to go with gray, just because most... a good portion of rocks are, of course, kind of that standard gray color, but it gets pretty fun when you mix it up. And I wanted the skin of the dudes themselves to kind of be the center focus of like the drab colors. So I wanted the plinths that they're carrying to have a little bit more light to them. So, yeah. And let's see, look at the underside, just a smidge, not too much. But we wanted to make it look like it's from the same piece of stone, right? But yes, I'd love to hear what everybody's working on, and if the sound is working okay for you, please let me know. I think I might also, at the end, add some dirt and stuff like that. Hey, Captain, I am building the Heart of Gur Warcry box right now. Sweet. Tell me... depending on where you're at in the build, how do you feel about building kind of the bamboo terrain that they put in there? It was one of those things that, like, I figured out for me the key was I had to, like, dry fit stuff like 30 times to make sure I had it right, because I just kept getting the wrong... Like, I would see it where, like, platforms are supposed to lock into trees. I'd see it, and then when I actually had the glue on the model, it would never seem to line up right, and I was just cussing myself. Hi, I'm working on Space Marines, Ultramarine Successor Chapter. For Conquest, I'm slowly working on my first unit of Legionnaires. Going slow with the ladder because got nobody to play Conquest with. I totally get that. I understand. My painting motivation is generally tied to whatever I can get games in of, and right now lately that has been strictly Conquest or Marvel Crisis Protocol. So, I get it. Totes. Speaking of, do you guys play Marvel Crisis Protocol? I threw a picture up on my I did it twice now, but they weren't meant to be like intentional, content posts. They were just sharing some stuff that's going on in my life. But I threw some pictures of me playing Marvel with my buddy Jeremy online, and people really seemed interested. So if that's the case, I'm kind of curious as to what kind of content everyone would like. I'm not really into comic book lore, if I'm perfectly honest with you. That's a lot of reading. That's a mountain of reading. But I could certainly do, like, unit reviews. Kind of like how I do, like, the tactical stuff for other things, just to give you a sense of what the characters do. That kind of content I'm stoked for. I want to check out other games. I will be honest with you guys. For those of you who caught this stream, I'll probably do a video about it later on, but I've kind of been in a GW funk lately. It seems to be going around, but mine has been very intense. I don't know. Just in a funk. Everybody gets that. Enthusiasm waxes and wanes, right? I'm in a wane state. But that's okay. That's why I play a million games. I can find something. I always dry fit with the big piece. It's impossible without. Yeah, because like the little nubbins, if you guys know what about the Warcry Heart of Gur terrain, like where it's a tree that has like a platform coming out of the side of it. The little nubbins they give you for those to mark where the platform levels out on it is not very well defined, and one piece of terrain in particular has like two platforms, and you can actually put them on wrong. I don't know. Let's see. Sound is perfect. Thank you so much, Christian. Working on Cruel Boys Warcry Warband. Big Yellers. Sweet. I love the Big Yellers. I love it. Also painting some D&D minis for a buddy. Nice. That's awesome. What kind of D&D do you guys do? My brother, well, it's been a rocky start because a lot of life has gotten in the way, but he was getting us into Pathfinder First Edition. Like, I don't play many games, and so he was like, oh yeah, that's great because it's all free online, you can do all those kinds of things. And it's been fun, but we've had a lot come up to interrupt and distract our campaign. Plus, one of our players made a custom character, and so it's not that it's a rough start because it's annoying or anything like that, but in the beginning you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what do we agree upon for these stats and that kind of thing. So there's a little bit of tedium that isn't there for mine and Jess's characters. I went with a... What did I go with? Am I a ranger? I think I'm a ranger. And she went with a witch. I got the base colors for kind of their garb on, so now I'm just picking out some of the little beads and stuff. Ain't seen you for a while. Did you move away from Twitch? I did, yes. The Restreamer service I was using kept crashing, but I do want to get back on there at some point. It's just last year was not my year, and this one already has its own challenges, so we'll get there. It's on the list. But it's on the list. Joshua, whoa, now Collier didn't sell those to be painted. Yeah. He sold them so that they could sit in somebody else's closet unpainted. He didn't want to be shamed. He's talking about the gentleman I got these from. Wonderful guy over in my neck of the woods. But yeah, he had a full Wadroon army and then was like, they're not really my style. Just from like a... He plays other war games too, so he understands his kind of, gameplay style, if you will. And so he was like, I don't want them. And so at the last event, I saw him playing something else. I was like, man, if you don't want those, I'll get those off you. They're already built and everything. That's the worst part to me. And then I do have my Dweg home all painted. I might be taking those, I think, to Adepticon. Just to have a painted army. But I do think that they will be cool. I'll be honest, I'm actually much more excited to play these guys than I am the Dweg home. But I don't know. If you read what the internet says, which is, take internet opinions with a grain of salt, but the people out there like, Dweg are so broken now, they're so OP, it's amazing. All right, let's see. Have you tried Kings of War? I tried Kings of War when... Okay, so I don't know if they've had multiple editions. I tried it once when Fantasy Battles first went away. Like, people were immediately looking for alternative games with their rank and flank stuff. Conquest didn't exist at the time. So I did try it then. I got like 2 games in, and then the group that was looking to run it basically was like, actually, we're just kind of done looking at these models. They just got kind of burnt out after all the stuff. They were like, it kind of spoiled their emotional attachment, shall we say, to have to use them as something else. That was the wrong color. What am I looking for? Which I get, I mean, that's fair. If that doesn't make you excited to bust out your models, I get it. But, so it's sad to say, I tried it, but it was more like a demo than anything else. The big takeaway that I did like was the fact that, unlike Fantasy Battles or Conquest for that matter, you don't have to have an exact number of dudes on your bases to have like a regiment. So like in Conquest terms, what if you had 2 guys on a stand instead of 4, but they represent 2, kind of a thing? That's basically what they did. And I like that from, obviously the company wants to sell models and make money, and I get that. I respect that. But at the same time, like for a hobbyist, you're hard pressed to find a more exciting thing than like, here's half of a base to make whatever kind of crazy wacky stuff you want to do for, dioramas purposes and stuff like that. So I am a sucker for that. Let's see. Oh, I fell behind here. Morning, Doug. Hey, Cinderfall. What's up, buddy? Fifth edition. They might do Pathfinder in the future. Guess they shenanigans D&D. Oh, okay, interesting. Jacob just bought a bunch of Cruel Boys minis. Nice. I hope you enjoy your army, my friend. Building's my favorite part of the whole hobby. Reminds me of building my model planes with my dad as a kid. I love it. That's so wonderful, and that's why I never like. I don't make videos complaining about building models. I've seen those online, like, oh my god, modern game companies are trying to ruin the hobby with an X. Fill in. They're changing plastics. They're no longer monopose. Now they're not multi-kits. Whatever. News. And but for me, I have never liked building models. I didn't like it as a kid when I enjoyed these things. It was never an exciting part of my hobby. Been working on 77 city models with only got 20 days before Adepticon. Oh my god. Oh, your city states. Yes. I believe in you. I believe in the nerd power of having no life and only friends who will shame you if you don't finish the task. Like, guys, I understand the mission. Okay. I'm going to have 2 armies fully painted before most of our group actually has anything. That's fun. He's got multiple chains going around him. What models am I painting? These are called Warbred from the game Conquest Last Argument of Kings. It is a rank and flank game, although they have a skirmish variant that doesn't use the rank and flank. You use these round bases that they individually stand on. And I really do like that. And I'm considering in the chat, let me know your thoughts, and if anyone is semi-local to me, what would you think about a First Blood event? I think if I came up with my own missions, I don't particularly care for the way Parabellum writes their missions. I think it's a lot to keep track of. But overall, I like the way First Blood plays. Let's see. I messaged you in Cinderfall on Discord as you are my biggest lore sources. I need book knowledge. Okay. I see your thing down there. I'll get to it in just a hot second. Let's see. About to build the last of my Warcry terrain. I feel like I had a life. That's funny. So is the next faction for AOS the Crusades? Oh, I have no idea. Nobody tells me nothing. I just noticed he has one scar I forgot to paint. There we go. Let's see. Okay, so Robin's questions. Where to start with AOS books and what are specific to Chaman and or Caradron overlords? They have quite a few. Let's see. I am just going to say up front, there's not many books that that I think do a great job of making you feel like you're in Chaman. Like, almost like a Gur has Dominion, which is very Gurish. That kind of stuff. I don't feel like every realm has those kinds of seminal books, but let's see, throw this up here. If we go to the shared screen, yep, we can see all the Black Library stuff. Overlords of the Iron Dragon was highly recommended to me. I haven't gotten to it yet. It's on my to be read. Buyer Beware, I have read that one. That one's a fun one. I mean, I just typed in Caradron into the Black Library site, but there's quite a few going on. Arcanauts Oath are the go-to. Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. Where is Prophet's Ruin? I've heard of this one is really good too. But I was gifted the MP3 file and I haven't gotten to it yet, so I can't recommend it, but it's on my, like I said, I do like C.L. Werner quite a bit. He's written some fantastic short stories for Games Workshop. So that's one that I'm fairly confident in, just from the outset. But yeah. I don't know. Cinderfall, do you feel like there's any books that are like, oh my god, this is pure Chaman energy? I generally do not. So now I'm going to grab some Zendrust. I also need the story about Tzeentch and the Hammer. Oh, that's going to be the quest for Gal Moraz. Prophet's Ruin is a sequel to Overlord. Okay, it was a sequel. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad I had you. And we're just going in to really grab the teeth. Go ahead, we'll pick out some of the strings just to make it have a little bit more color vibrancy. Maybe the first few Rome. Yeah, you're right. There was that story about them in the... Oh man, what was the name of that? Let me look it up here. There was one. It must have been a short story that I'm thinking. I can picture the cover, but it's not on their site. But I do feel like, didn't they make a story that was going into the... There was a Night Haunt, like, maiden who was killed as part of Tzeentch's plan when they took over the realm, and then she came back and helped the Stormcast. And I thought that there was a story about that, like, of when... the Night Haunt kind of help out. And the Night Haunt, this is before they were actually the Night Haunt. Like, they didn't exist as a book yet. I thought that was a story, but I might be making that up. That might just be a side thing in one of the campaign books. But they retroactively made that a whole Night Haunt faction with the Quicksilver Dad, and I kind of love it. Been taking a bit of a mental health break and playing a ton of Far Cry again. 5 in particular is my jam. All things creepy and culty. I forgot how this guy had a chain on his neck. Somehow I missed that. You are remembering correct. Okay, cool. Yeah. There was just a point in Black Library writing when they were like, oh, people want books set in Age of Sigmar, and they opened up the fire hose, and I have just not been able to catch up since. Between that and then we started doing the Horus Heresy podcast, and I mean, Horus Heresy's they've been banging out content for that since, like, I don't know, 2016. It feels like. Got his teeth, we just need your teeth. He got some big old canines. Okay. Next, we're going to take Great Coat Gray. Where are you? Hey. Far Cry 5 is so good. Been thinking about reinstalling it. Yes. Yes. I did a full restart. I was like, I just want to re-experience it. It's been years. And my wife Jess loves it because we're both, usually our evenings are spent as most couples our age do in their early 30s, which is you sit around and listen to true crime documentaries, and while you're learning about how terrible ways in which people have died, you play Mario Kart. So that's kind of been our evenings. Generally keep up with all the Audible releases book-wise. Put them on while I do commissions. Yeah, I do have Audible, and that's the thing. That's mostly what I use my credits for, is our Horus Heresy podcast. I just went and got Legion yesterday, but no, I know it's worth it. There's ways to make it doable. I know. So these guys are supposed to be kind of mutiny, not necessarily like they're aberrations, right? The Badrun are an experiment. These guys are the ones that didn't turn out so well, defects, and that means like all their faces are just a little bit different, which makes them just kind of a pain in the butt. Been reading Josh Reynolds' Dark Harvest. So, yes, Dark Harvest is a fantastic book. So creepy. Bad Moon Rising, The Iron Kingdom this week. Nice. Am I wrong for thinking Dominion was half-baked book? I mean, you can think whatever you like. I'm not going to correct you. I don't have a stake in Black Library Publishers' self-esteem. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't care for the fact that they were so dodgy about... forgive me, I'm just going to stir up my tea and get rid of my tea leaves. But I thought introducing them as a new threat that no one really knew about was quite nice. But a lot of people felt that way. I mean, a lot of people were just like, eh. One thing that was interesting to me was the fact that it didn't really match, I feel like, the contents of the starter box, which is typically the point of those books. For example, like, the hero in the main story of that book is not the hero you got in the Dominion set. It's somebody else. And you're like, okay, well, I thought the whole purpose of this thing was for you to show me in story form what all of these models do. And for the most part, they do. There's just a few that you're like, all right, but what does he do? Here's this guy. Cool. What's his specialty? I don't know. It makes me think of a scene from Bob's Burgers with Mr. Fischoeder. He tries to sell the kids one of his employees, and they're like, what does he do? He's like, it remains to be seen. He's a bottomless pit of possibilities. He's just good for nothing. I'm like, oh, I like it. That's real cool, Rob. Dominion felt like it was an introduction to the Dawnbringer Crusades more than anything else. That is actually probably a very astute point. It probably is. At least it sounds reasonable about that. But thoroughly I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's hard to say that I liked it more than Soul Wars. Because Soul Wars was banging on all cylinders. I love Josh Reynolds. I've talked about that numerous times. But he's no longer with Games Workshop. But even then, like, the way that the book... It was so cumbersome. It went through so many side stories. And I know that the point was to, like, show you that, oh, Nagash's BS is affecting everybody everywhere. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to see everybody everywhere. I just want to focus on the story. I don't know. It felt like it was a very grueling book to reread when I had to do it for the book club. That was definitely when I had my patron and co-host Kenzie on. And it was just definitely one of those stories where I was like, towards the end, I'm like, man, I don't want to read this. This takes too long. Just add a little bit of shadow to some of these bits. Soul Wars 10 out of 10. Sad Reynolds is no longer... Yeah. Yeah. I know. And I followed him for a while on Twitter, and then I just kind of stopped paying attention to Twitter. But he got bittery, and I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to be, but it's one of those things that's like, that's not what I'm on the internet for. It was a bit of a bummer. Could have just been a bad day, though. Everybody has them. Tigurius is a pain to paint. Tigurius. Oh, Space Marine guy? Yeah. I know stuff. And things. But that's a good idea. Dominion felt like an introduction to Dawnbringers. I would agree. This guy's got like a very precariously placed earring. Oh, yesterday, I'll give you guys some show and tell here. I got beat up by a bench real good. I was at a coffee shop, and I was reaching down to get my computer plug-in out of the outlet. And to do that, I had to reach in between two planks of wood. Like there's a bench where you sit on one, your back's on the other, but there's like a gap in between the two, so I had to reach in there. Check this out. Where's it at? There we go. Yeah. It wraps all the way around my arm. You can't quite see it, but yeah, that thing, it tore me up. Something fierce. My hand just got, or my arm rather, just got absolutely trapped and thrashed. And I was supposed to be playing Marvel this morning with my eternally patient friend Jeremy, but I had to cancel because I did not get a wink of sleep last night because of it. And I don't want to be short with people. It's not fun. Okay, we're gonna do the rest of the hair first, and then we'll come back and get the little jewels and stuff. These guys kind of have the same thing that some of the Fire Slayer models have, where it's like you have like long braided beards, and sometimes there's like jewels and stuff inside of them. So I have found when I was painting my Fire Slayers, just do all of the hair and then go back and take care of the gems. It's just so much easier that way. But you should have seen the bench. Exactly. I made it kiss my ass for an hour. And it bit me back. Oh, man. Ultramarines, dude. Yet less Twitter equals better mental health. Generally, yeah. Deleted my Twitter app today. Too much transphobia. That's fair. Honestly, There's just too much phobia. I mean, that's not to diminish the struggle for trans people. I just mean like Twitter is a cesspool of be afraid of everything and hate everything. Howdy, what's up? We're hanging out painting some Warbred, which they're getting pretty close to war done. I just want to... I need to highlight the chain a bit, and I don't know. I'm actually pretty happy with these guys, if I'm honest with you. They are not my favorite models, but I really do like them. I'm actually going to take some Kerber Crimson, and we're just going to lightly go through some of the more well-defined muscles to really kind of make them pop out. Spin my little thing around here. If you are just jumping in, because I see our count went from like 6 people to 22. If you're just joining us, tell us what you're working on. I'm doing stuff for my Conquest League, but drag out anything. I said bring and drag at the exact same time, and it came out as neither. So what we're doing is we're taking just a very thin down Caribou Crimson into these great big rippling muscles. The kind of arms you just want to hold you and tell you it's all going to be alright. That's what these guys got. That's what they bring to the army. There should definitely be a rule in Conquest for moral support. I feel like most characters would have that. Couldn't finish Gloomspite. Oh, I loved Gloomspite. Oh, it was the best. It's just any book that can make me feel the same way that I did when I saw the movie Jurassic Park. Like, you know, like when the T-Rex is coming and there's the stomps and a little glass of water or whatever. You know, they're kind of like building tension feeling. I feel like the author of Gloomspite did an incredible job of that, specifically. Creating tension, and then when things go to hell, it goes to the deepest layers. And like, you know, I agree, Cinderfall, there's a great book out there from the Gitz perspective, and that's important. It really is, but I thoroughly appreciated, like, when you read the stuff in the battle tome, you're like, okay, but what does that look like? And they show you every bit of it. It's like amazing. Hey, that already makes him look better. Turns out defining detail probably does. And what I'm essentially doing is right at the end when I have just a little bit, it's almost like dry brushing, but with I guess it's glaze. Doing some underpainting. So that the undersides look a little bit darker, just kind of helps them pop a smidge. De gusta. Gloomspite shows you how horrifying the Everdank is. Absolutely.
Currently building Spire's Abomination. Nice. Nice.
Honestly, I want the matriarch queen to hold me tight.
Let's see. If you guys missed a question and I missed it, if you asked a question and I missed it, please just ask it again because I feel like I'm falling behind here. Okay, here we go. I have a lore question. Where did what was Seraphon doing during the Age of Chaos?
Yeah, my understanding is they were out and about trying to do their best to hold whatever territories they had, stop Chaos guys from claiming important ritual sites, that kind of thing. But they were around. They were fighting, but it was kind of like everybody else was sort of doing like a fighting retreat thing. Like it was fighting, but like not good. Like they weren't doing well. Nobody was doing well. And so I think they just kind of got pushed further and further away from their goals and were pushed into the skies. Where they were like, we're just going to hang in the background and exist for a couple hundred years with these terrible looking cavalrymen that are getting replaced. And lo, then Sigmar said, let it not be so. And they had models. And other old world factions that were brought forward wept, for they were beautiful.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Rogue Idol. Agreed. He was the goodest boy. Can you still play him? Like, are his rules still in the app? Where it's one of those things like, you can technically bring him even though we all know he's going to go away, or is he just gone? I have not. Guys, to let you know how out of the loop I am with AOS, just from as part of my little mental health break from GW. I actually have no idea what's going on with anything anymore in terms of releases and stuff like that. Or competitive stuff, like what's legal and stuff. I haven't even had the opportunity to play in quite a while. Or frankly, the desire. Nice definitions coming together. This guy is a freaking beefcake mountain. I love it. I like him.
Ratoya, Rogue Idol finally removed from Forge Rule, yet rules are still there.
Okay, well, thank you. Sweet.
Here's a question. Are there other non-GW games out there to play like Warcry? Love the small squad-based combat style. Yes, I have several I can recommend for you, and a lot of them are really far more. I mean, they're a little more complex than Warcry, but they're far more engaging. So, off the top of my head, 2 games by Snarling Badger Studios, Rain in Hell and Space Station Zero. They're both made by community heartthrob and all-around sexual icon Vince Ventrella and Adam Loper, so Uncle Adam, if you're familiar with his channel or their channels respectively. There's also Frostgrave and Stargrave, which are a fantasy and sci-fi alternate of the exact same thing, where basically that one's more like you build a central character and then you take that character through a campaign and you can like hire minions to do your job. That one's really cool in terms of a campaign style thing. It blows Warcry out of the water in terms of graduating characters and all that kind of stuff. As far as, so that's 4, but from 2 manufacturers. I would also recommend, if you like Skyrim, Call to Arms by Modifius is an awesome game, and it is honestly like taking the video game on the table. It seems a little overwhelming at first, but it has a wonderful AI system. You can play cooperatively, so you never have to be against anybody if you want to give a demo to your significant other. And you equip items and stuff. It's all very intuitive. It's pretty sweet. What else is there? If you just want to use the models you have, One Page Rules has a Warcry alternative. We've tried that a few times. Give it like 3 or 4 tries before jumping all in or writing it off, because I think it'll take that many times for you to like get into the rhythm of basically like how the game flow is. What else is there? On this channel, I just did 2 lore videos for it, but the game Carnival by TT Combat, I am smitten by it because it seems like they took all of the best parts of Necromunda and Mordheim, which are old variants, old and more crunchy variants of Warcry, played on bigger tables and stuff, and then condensed it and simplified it, and I'm having a blast with that stuff right now. I've been reading all the rules, and yeah, it's just awesome. What else? Man, I feel like I played a whole bunch. Infinity is one that's out there. That one, it doesn't grip me as much, just because of the sheer amount of rules you have to learn to be able to become decent at it. It gets a little overwhelming. But again, every gamer is different. There's always that, simplicity versus crunch that you're trying to balance, and different things appeal to different gamers. So, let's see. Moonstone. Dude, like 3 days ago, I discovered Moonstone, and I've been binge watching it. I haven't played it, so I didn't recommend it, but I'm so glad you did. It looks so stinking fun. It's one of those games where you build a little warband, you're trying to collect Moonstone, like, the MacGuffin, but at the start of the game, you take a fistful of dice, D4s, and you just drop them. And that's the location of your objectives. It's like, now scram! And everybody has to go kill each other to get these things. I love that. That's just straightforward fun. Plus, they have quite possibly the most unique sculpts I've ever seen from a major model company. They're not major, but they're a big one. I like it. Kill Wager was fun, fast. I think I've seen that one. I did not fill my roster up with very many events at Adepticon this year. It's my first Adepticon. I kind of wanted to be an attendee first, and then I don't live far. I live in the Iowa area, so like I can go there next year, right? It's not something I'm worried about missing. So as I prepare for that, I'm getting excited to demo as many, frankly, skirmish games as possible, because that's just really where my interest lies anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys feel that same way? Mass army games, I know I'm painting one right now, but I can also use these guys in First Blood. So, but mass army games, like, just the amount of work it takes to look good on the table is so much higher than, like, say, any skirmish game. Just pick any skirmish game. It's easier to get that painted on the table than
AOS Warcry or Last Argument of Kings. Because there's just so much more involved. So many dudes. Infinity is crunchy. Heard the new edition tried to simplify a bit. But that's the thing, is they didn't make it a new edition, though. What's weird is, like, they're like, okay, guys, we have a game mode coming out called Code 1, which is supposed to simplify stuff. But then only some stuff works in Code 1. It's difficult to find people... I don't know. I think the way that they're... The way it was explained to me, okay? So I don't know if they were told to say this or whatever, but I had one of their volunteer corps walk me through a run of Code 1. And the way it sounded to me was like, this is the training wheels mode, and when you're a big boy, then you can play Infinity, the real game. And it's like, well, nobody would want to waste their time learning the training wheels mode if the expectation for your local group is that then you're going to play something else. Just teach me this something else. And so I haven't heard much of it, because after that I was like, oh, okay, so what you're telling me is I might as well just not waste my time and just go play like full-size Infinity. Okay, cool. Neat. And I try not to be that way when it comes to like First Blood and Conquest, because the games, like, they have entirely different point systems. Army construction is totally different. Like, they're different games. You could tell that they have the same DNA, but they're different games. Whereas I felt like Code 1, like I said, was just training wheels. But that's not a sales pitch. Oh, Marvel Crisis Protocol, fantastic skirmish game. I have been binging hard lately. Moonstone has great minis. Yep. I like the big battles, but the skirmish games are my jam. Cheaper in comparison and generally simpler to learn. And what's nice is that once you get... Like, the big daunting thing for me with skirmish games, in general, is terrain. Because for a lot of them... Because the distances of the table are different, meaning they're more condensed and small, the ranges for things typically are. And also that generally means that there's a bit more terrain, because rules like cover and stuff mean so much more in, say, Necromunda than they do in 40k. Because you're fewer guys, it's all cramped, close quarters, so a sniper rifle that can shoot clear across the table is a bit much sometimes. But that's the idea. But the nice thing about skirmish games is once you like make the investment to have a table's worth, say a 4x4, because that's pretty much the largest skirmish game I can think of, Necromunda. If you have enough stuff to make a Necromunda table, you'll never need to buy sci-fi terrain again. And you can use it for any game. Miniature agnostic game, other IP, you can just do whatever you want. And I love that. Like, once you have enough for these kinds of skirmish games, you're good. You're set. And our last color, I'm just going to grab the top little bits of these weird, like, chitinous growths they got. Let's see. Teaching ain't easy? You mean... F you, Mark. I just saw your thing about Age of Wonders Planetfall. I have not, but that sounds very intriguing. We're starting our Necromunda campaign back up, and I was like, okay, I'll get some new terrain in a box. Like $400. I was like, crap, it happened. Exactly. Yes. Hungry Maw of the dog or the swipe of the cat paw. We never had problems with that until we got our most recent cat, and she tried to annihilate my studio the other night. She tried to pull on the curtains, and like the curtain rods just, thankfully, instead of breaking and falling like they probably should have, they just kind of bent and bowed, and I was able to put it back in place. But like, very close to wiping out my DSLR camera and microphone, and all the stuff that cats would love to break if only we gave them a chance.
I just like lore and building things. Painting and rules come second. Oh, of course. And they always should, because those things change, right? Typically, backstory and that kind of stuff, that all stays pretty stagnant once the models are out. They don't change too much of that. No company does. Because they were trying to sell you on an idea, right? And then if it's sold, hell yeah. Someone made a Blade Runner 2049 Wasteland style too. Oh, that sounds rad. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, even though I don't play 40K, is the 40K Badcast. They're just funny, cool guys. I like them. And was it last episode or the one before last? One of the hosts went to a friends weekend gaming event, and they played Rocket Ball with Ash Waste's cars. Like, Rocket Ball, if you don't know, is when you're basically playing soccer but with cars. You have to drive your car into the ball, and then it hits it forward and so on. But such a fun idea, and they turned it into Necromunda Ash Waste, and I was like, this is amazing. I want to try this so bad. I'm actually feeling okay to call these guys done. Let's see, I think they look pretty good. I would stand across from them for an hour or two. Oh, actually, there is 2 more colors I wanted to do. I wanted to highlight the reds and the yellow on the leader guy. That's right. Okay. That'll take 8 seconds, maybe. Models are forever. Rules are temporary. Exactly. That is why I will never get rid of my rogue idol that was custom made for me. I love him. He's just below the cats in my family hierarchy. Let's see. But I'm the same way. FU Mark, with just the focus on lore and that kind of stuff. That's definitely what I'm here for as well. Okay, he didn't have much red on him. Sweet. I'm lucky to be able to print off all my terrain. It's fun to make print tables of terrain, but 60% of it never hits the table. Yeah. One day I'll try a 3D printer. But my thing is, I just want one for terrain. I don't want to make models. Like, I would be fine with whatever the spool style of printer is. It's so easy for terrain to be like a big hindrance. I don't know why. It just always seems that way. It's also, I find terrain very fun to paint. Because you can do weird stuff and, like, no one cares. One time I printed off a bunch of pictures of, like, Spider-Man posters. I put them on some terrain. I've done stuff from, like, other universes that doesn't make sense, like Star Trek references on 40K terrain. You can just have fun, and nobody cares. Lore and painting for me. I don't mind building, but it's not quite the same as painting. I can't stand it. Cannot stand it. I'd rather paint 1,000 models than build 100. I will say, unless there is one exception. One model that I can build eternally and never tire. That is the OG Chaos Warrior. Where it's just like...
Torso, torso, arm. Done. Yes! That's it. No pieces, no problems. The most egregiously monoposed model. These are Vikings that charge at full speed just to thrash you. How come he looks like he's waiting for the bus? Actually, I don't know if I've used this paint yet. Did I ever actually open it? Oh, I have not. I am slowly going through the process of migrating from GW paints to Monument Hobbies, at least for my main colors. And what a process it is. There we go. That. I found a previous version of Orc Boys in my local game store. I like a lot of those ones. I mean, I won't begrudge someone for, wanting a model that's not, a model to be redone when it's like 12 years old. I get it. I totally do. Especially if it's like a unit you're really excited about, or one that you love in the books that the game is just not representing. I would say a Salon is probably a great part of that. That's why they're getting the new kit. But I've never, I don't know. Every time a model comes out, somebody is happy. And so I've just never been of the persuasion to be like, this is stupid. Games Workshop should be doing X, Y, Z, as if I know anything. I'm like, no. Someone's happy. Here we go. We got a fun little yellow neck dress. Been using a lot of Army Painter lately instead of Citadel. I struggle with Army Painter paints. They sent me some at one point because they wanted me to be like a brand ambassador, and they sent the dungeon terrain thing too. I had a bit of trouble. I like the set. I've actually built multiple things with it, but I don't know why the medium that they use, I just can't seem to use well. I don't know why that is. As a man with hundreds of Orc Boys, there are 0 new boys on my shelf. The kit God didn't want, but GW did. Exactly. It's the rush you crave. Let's see. Let's get some... Let's get some Word Bears flesh on here. We're going to have some fun with stippling. I like Word Bearers Red because it looks like dried blood, and that's exactly what I want the front of these things to look like. So we're going to build up some color here. We're going to do some blood for the blood god, but this is good to get us a nice... Okay.
Personally, after I buy a bunch of orc models, the new and the old ones, pros and cons. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about a lot of stuff. Like, there are a few times where Games Workshop comes out with a kit, and you're like, this is strictly better than the last one. And then there's some kits that come out, and you're like, why did we need new Sentinels? It's a chicken leg with a gun. The new kit does nothing to alleviate that condition. But yes, that is tends to be how it goes, right? I'm going to throw just a hair of Evil Sun's Scarlet on there, just to brighten our reds up a smidge. Towards the center, it's going to look fresher. It's blurred for the blurred gird term. Let's do this. Oh, here it is. Okay. Sweet. So we got that. I'm going to really quickly. Where to go? Just black out the bases that they're on. It helps me kind of see the color more. So I know where to put kind of more highlights and stuff, so let me do that real fast. Any of you guys play Marvel? What kind of heroes have you been liking lately? I've been doing a lot of Criminal Syndicate, specifically with Shadowlands Daredevil. I like the little punk ninjas that pop up and immediately get themselves murdered. I have yet to beat my buddy Jeremy at Marvel Crisis Protocol. We've been playing for like a year. But he's one of those awesome guys who can like look at a rule set and just kind of know what to do. What a convenient superpower. Daredevil is my guy. Oh, sorry, in every list. Been running lots of Hydra. Crimson Dynamo and Logan are putting in work with Stroke. Okay, cool. Daredevil is my favorite guy superhero. Both versions of him. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, Cinderfall, or anyone who uses Shadowlands Daredevil, also would like to ask, what are your opinions on Elektra? We broke it down. So last time I played my buddy and I got thrashed, we stopped afterwards and had a really good discussion about like the merits of Elektra versus Shadowlands Daredevil. And I just think Daredevil wins every single time. He just has better builders and more access to power, and I don't know. I think that's my assumption. Please, if you hear a compelling argument.
she's beyond bad. Okay, so it's not just me, because I don't like follow like Marvel Crisis Protocol channels or anything. This is like, it is the truest sense of like my hobby. So I just do it for fun and take the heroes I like, kind of a thing. And I was like, man, I just feel like there's something not right about this. And after the game, we were both just like, oh yeah, she's Coyote Ugly dancing on that dumpster fire. Electra is interesting. See, if I had a hero that would allow me, or tactics cards that allowed me to siphon power to her, she has some really cool stuff. Like, she has some cool abilities. I feel like if she had one ability that would let her, I don't know, get a little extra movement, or we were talking like if they gave her a long move, maybe, but I just don't, I don't know. We were trying to problem solve before we even really nailed down the problem with her, so that's probably not smart, but But it took us a while because I kept flip-flopping between the two of them. It is the most casual of my games where I don't really like build teams ahead of time and like research. I just show up and I play some heroes. That's cool. That's all I want out of it, right? I'm having a great time. And at the end of the game, I was like, how? It was so bad that it made me stop and be like, I am the most cash when it comes to this. So why is this not fun? Why did she just got punked? Or, big or here, just let her generate power like every other character in the game. Yes. Yeah, so if you don't know, she gets one power if she hurts somebody. I can go check the card. But she has an attack that like you get one power from whenever you do it, but she doesn't have the standard like damage is equal to the power is equal to the amount of damage dealt kind of a thing. And so it just makes it bizarre. Like, first of all, why is she different? She's not special. I feel like you guys just hate Jennifer Gardner, and that's okay, but this isn't the place to deal with it. Other than the fact that she's a national treasure, and it hopefully will never go away, and is immune to aging. Y'all, I'm calling these guys finito, except for basing. I'm doing all the basing at the end together. But this means the only model that I have left to do in order to hit my first milestone is this. This is the queen who's going to be riding the T-Rex. Which, have you guys on the stream seen the T-Rex I painted for her? I can go grab it. Let me put these guys off to the side here. I think Josh will want to see it. Let's see Collier do shit like this. Let me get all my painting stuff out of the way so I don't accidentally dip his tail in something. So yeah, there is my Apex boost for this gal. I'm very, very excited. We don't speak of those movies. Okay. F you, Mark. Last night, I wanted to get into the truest Marvel spirit. And of course, I did that by watching the greatest of all the Marvel movies, which is Ghost Rider, starring Nicolas Cage. Reintroduced it to my wife. And we had an awesome time. So it's just you. Okay, I think I'm just going to avoid painting the staff and use that as my painting handle. Hey, thank you guys. Very kind of you to say. Ghost Rider 1 is okay. It had some rough parts. I sent a clip to my buddy Jeremy of him throwing a chain at a helicopter and yelling "Yeehaw." That was pretty cool. I don't feel like that would have happened in the Thanos series. Do you still like Italian food? That was a line from that movie. Coming from Nick Cage. And I'm just really mad that he wasn't there. I feel like he could have lasso chained Thanos' fingers apart and kept him from snapping. But the Avengers were too cowardly to let Ghost Rider on their team. They're like, oh, he's gonna talk about the devil and stuff.
But it has the scene of old Ghost Rider with the new one playing Ghost Riders in the sky.
It does, but then I forgot, in that movie, the guy uses the last of his power to make the epic ride to the last fight with Nick Cage. And then immediately, right when they get there, goes, "That's all I had." It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We just got here. You spent all of your power just to get here? I would have driven you. You could have ran in the back of my bike. Like, you had purpose. Now you're useless to me. Now you're just an old man on a horse. But yes, that was a pretty epic scene.
Peace out. Heading out. Take it easy. Ghost Rider is in the MCU. He's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think that would be amazing. Wait, is he really? I have no idea. I just assumed they cut out Nick Cage because they're cowards at Disney. They're like, we're making safe choices with actors now. We need someone who's going to reliably bring home money. And then it's just like, Nick Cage, like, remember when I was in National Treasure? And they're all like, no. You've done too many movies since then. Nobody remembers that classic slice of Americana. Okay.
Yeah, he's in it.
It's not Nicolas Cage, though. Then what's the point? Then it's not Ghost Rider. Not hashtag not my Ghost Rider. Oh man, that'd be hilarious. That's what I should do. That's going to be my next channel. It's just a whole channel dedicated to Nick Cage's masterpiece, Ghost Rider. I see no downsides. Skirmish Pink, where is Barack Burgundy?
Still waiting to see the X-Men in the MCU. Demand a proper Cyclops and Nightcrawler. You didn't like the X-Men they've had? I feel like they made Cyclops a little bit of a third wheel, to put it politely. But I also, I have to wonder, did they alter the script just because every actress in the tri-state area was just swooning over Wolverine so bad? Hugh Jackman? Could be. Things we don't know. I feel like there was never supposed to be a romance between Jean Grey but she just couldn't stop staring at Hugh Jackman. So we had to work it into the script. I want them. Actually, let's segue into this question. What is a character that you want for Marvel Crisis Protocol? And I want dumb choices only. Okay? For me, I want my favorite X-Men hero, Jubilee. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doug, Jubilee's the most useless character in all of Marveldom. And the answer is, you're correct. That's exactly why I like her. If I could pick one superpower from all of the heroes, I would pick Jubilee. You want to know why? How many times has the world ever depended on Jubilee? Almost never. Almost never. Of course, there's some times where she's the plot driver, but generally speaking, nobody cares about Jubilee. But she has powers, and I think that's the best life possible, is to have all the powers, and society has absolutely no pressure on you to use them because they all think you're kind of useless. That's winning. Because the second you can do stuff like Cyclops or Wolverine, people are always like, help me, Magneto's conquering the world. But no one's ever like, get me Jubilee. Unless it's like the 4th of July and all the fireworks stands are out and the town owner needs fireworks ASAP. That's a humdinger of a mystery that Jubilee is up to solve. And also me. Wild Dollar Store Punisher from Rock Island, Illinois. Oh wait, I missed some comments here. Yeah, Cyclops wasn't that great in the movies. Same for Rogue and Nightcrawler. Could do with less Wolverine. That's cool, yeah. Take it easy, Robin. Take it easy. Did you read about Shatterpoint's combat system with the whole chain combo mechanic? It sounds cool. I have not. Is there an article up? I'm very on the fence when it comes to Shatterpoint as of right now. To me, I don't feel like it's different enough from either Legion or Marvel for me to want to invest time in looking at it. But are you excited about it? And if so, I would love to hear why, because enthusiasm is very infectious to me and happy to talk about it. I mean, at the heart of it, it's a skirmish game, so it's not hard to get me excited about it. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't really need to sell me, but nothing about it has struck me as particularly interesting yet, so I just haven't seen it. Sweet. All right. But yes, I would take my Jubilee character greedily. I don't know what she could possibly do in the game, like an MCP, but I think they'll come up with something cool. Sorry, I'm just getting in the details here with her hair. Trying not to accidentally paint everything I've been working on black. Okay, coming towards the end here. Okay, sorry. Sometimes it's hard for me with the detail parts to speak. And especially when you're like trying to figure out what some parts of a model are. You guys ever have that problem where you're like, you see a bump and you're like, okay, this could be a few things. This could be a wrinkle in the fabric of their outfit. It could be a pouch of some variant. Or like, you just have to kind of go through your mental Rolodex and figure out what the hell this thing could be. That's me a lot of the time. Let's see, I am looking for Gorgrunta Fur, the best contrast paint. You can sign up for demos at Adepticon for Shatter. I'll try it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I will. I want to, I don't know. I want to encourage as many skirmish games to exist as humanly possible. The scuttlebutt seems to be that 40k is getting a new edition soon. What do we think about that, fam? Curious, we have a great, or I say great, I haven't really attended anything, but I'll say an active 40k scene here. It's certainly one of those games that if I ever wanted to jump into, I think that I could always get an opponent for. But that's generally true of all Games Workshop properties, right? Like 40k just seems to be the big one. It's pretty standard fare for them. Oh crap, I might actually I might lose power. My lights are all blinking. We got a storm coming through. Thought it was just supposed to be rain. Sweet. Okay, so I'll probably go it off and hop off here because there's just so much stuff that needs to dry. But
yeah, we're hammering her out. She's going to be awesome. Totally done by the 15th, and I will have completed my first milestone. Pretty active with our RTT a month near you and a major event in August. Yeah, pretty active. I mean, relative to other stuff where, like, Magic is every single Friday or whatever. It's a scale. But, yes, I understand that I am 40k spoiled, even though that means very little to me. Actually, I have a question for the chat. I'll ask this question, I'm going to hop off. But here's my T-Rex that this girl's riding, okay? What color should her feathers be on top? Should they match the T-Rex as if she has conquered it and now she bears its colors kind of a thing? Or should they conflict with it to make it look like, I don't know, she's queen of everything, not just this? I'm curious in your thoughts, and yes, she is magnetized. Would love to hear your thoughts. Set her right there. When are you planning on covering the Gloomspite Git's Path to Glory? I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of on a GW break at the moment, so I don't have any immediate plans to go with the yellow. I agree. Go with the yellow. Maybe, here, let me show you some. I did another feather and I want to show you. I did this guy, and he has feathers that go from yellow into like a turquoise type thing. I was thinking keeping that theme on her. It would bring the colors in, but they do look a little bit different, and the fact that the feathers have a gradient. This is from a Brave, by the way, in case you're curious. So, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Conflict, reds and oranges. Ooh. Yeah, she could pop. Reds and oranges. Nice. Okay. I'll think about it. I'm going to go back and forth. I hadn't thought about reds and oranges. That's an interesting color scheme. But, okay, friends. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I will chat with you all very, very soon. And this coming week, don't forget, if you are following along with this project, I have links down below for NerdHerder. And that's where we're kind of organizing this. So when you post your hobby progress there, I'm going to pull it down on the 15th and turn it into a video, just kind of sharing everyone's progress, including mine. And I hope to see you guys there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will catch you very, very soon. Happy Wargaming, friends.